Hey guys, Wayne Philmore. I'm here with Super Christian Tim, and we have a very special guest over the phone. We have Kent Holman. Say hi, brother Kent.
Hey, hello. Good to be with you, brother.
All right, Tim, can you hear him good?
Yep. Yeah, sounds good.
All right. Well, one of the first topics that we have for today will have to do with genetics. I was in a roundtable discussion with some atheists maybe about 2 or 3 days ago, and they said something that I would say this actually kind of shook my faith a little bit when I heard it. They said, "Don't you know that we share 90 something percent of our DNA with monkeys? So that proves that we all have a common ancestor with monkeys." And so I'm like, yeah, but just because we share 90% of our DNA with monkeys, it doesn't mean that we came from monkeys. Maybe we have a common designer. And so uh, the guy who I was talking to, he said, yeah, but how can you look at something that you've never seen before and tell that it was intelligently designed? And I was like, wow, he has a good point. Like if I never seen like a baseball or a computer charger or something like that before, and I came across it in the wilderness, how would I know somebody made it? And how would I know if it came about naturally? What's your take on that, Dr. Hovind?
Well, if all of the animals on the planet were not similar in some ways, we couldn't eat each other. How can the brown cow eat the green grass and give the white milk, and I drink it and get the blonde hair, if there weren't similarities along the way, so we're digestible to each other? I mean, God designed it where all of nature is everything's made out of 92 basic elements. That doesn't prove we're related. It proves that's the building blocks you build things from. Every book I've ever read in English is based on 26 letters. The same 26 letters found in every single book. Does that prove they all evolved from each other? Or does that prove that's the code that you write English in?
I guess
The fact that there's similarities in these animals and about 91% similar DNA to apes. Okay. That's because we got the same designer.
hmm.
I tell them Microsoft Word and Microsoft PowerPoint have thousands of lines of code that are identical. They're not going to rewrite every line of code every time they write a program. They borrow as much as they can from previous ones. It's common sense. The spell check you use for Microsoft Word and the spell check you access for PowerPoint are the same spell check. That proves they all evolved from Morse code.
Tim,
Yeah,
you want to
really.
go? You want to hold on? Oh, Tim, you can take it from here.
Yeah, like I heard something in a discussion that somebody was arguing that we have a basically, I think it's called an allelose mutated gene or frequency in us and apes, and they're trying to say that's what can prove evolution between us and apes or the common ancestor, however they try to spin it. But I'm pretty sure that that's probably a very faulty assumption again.
Hello.
Do you
Hello?
hear that?
Oh, there you go. Oh, I don't think he heard you, Tim.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was saying, I heard in a discussion, someone was trying to bring up this. I think it's called an allelose frequency in the genes or something like that. Supposedly, we have a gene that's mutated, and the apes have it too, and that's supposed to prove evolution. And that just doesn't sound correct to me.
They're focusing on such little tiny details. They're focusing on the leaves and they're missing the whole forest.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I could point out that the ninth word of Shakespeare's second play is identical to the ninth word of Beethoven's symphony. Oh, see, that proves something. No, it doesn't. They're morons.
Yeah, really.
Another what's another good question I got asked? Oh, I was because I don't just talk about evolution, but I also talk about like philosophy and morals and stuff like that. I was talking with one atheist, and he said that the God of the Bible might be evil, but he said if God is evil, it's nothing wrong with that. That's just how he is.
Yeah.
What's your take on that, Dr. Hovind? Is God an evil God?
No, man introduced evil into the world. God made it perfect and we wrecked it. If General Motors builds a car and somebody buys it and wrecks it, runs it into a pole, does that prove General Motors is evil?
No.
Well, no. They built it. It was fine when it went out of the showroom, and somebody wrecked it. That proves somebody else is a moron, not General Motors.
That's a good answer.
So yes, we are living in a fallen world with lots of sin and lots of problems and aches and pains. I understand, but that doesn't prove this is the way God made it. Especially when you consider that we are a copy off 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 a copy of our ancestors. I mean, how many times can you copy a document before it's unreadable? The fact that we can even sit here and talk about it is amazing.
Oh, Tim. What were you talking about well, I guess I'll start off. I don't know if you know, Dr. Hoban, but now they are preparing humans to morph or merge with machines or something like that, where they're trying to combine human consciousness with robots so we can live forever. What's your take on that?
Well, go get back and get some popular science magazines from 1930. They were talking about the same thing back then. This has been a pipe dream for a century, okay? And it is indeed just a pipe dream.
Oh, we have a question from somebody who just commented. They said Kent, they said your argument is flawed because one, we are 91% identical if we look at mitochondrial DNA. We are 97% identical if you look at the nuclear genome. And my question to you, Kent, is there's a sweet taste receptor gene called TAS1R2 in felines. There are 247 base pair deletion in exon 3 and a premature stop codons in exons 4 and 6. Did the felines inherit this mutation from a common ancestor, or did this identical mutation occur multiple times independently? Through that is unlikely.
Well, tell this person to get their head out of the microscope and just simply open their eyes, stand up a chimpanzee, and stand up a human being, and just look at them. Forget the microscope for just a minute. We are different, okay? We look different. We're not the same. The body hair concentration is very different. The method of sexual reproduction is very different. There are thousands and thousands of differences. Forget looking at one thing that you can find that you think is similar. I could point out the lug nuts from a Chevy will probably fit on a Honda. Okay. What does that prove? Nothing. They're still different. Chevys and Hondas are different. So apes and humans. If this guy wants to be related to an ape, okay, let him be related to the ape.
Yeah, really.
Why would they want that? Why do they want to be related to an ape? Why not a snail? Why not a mosquito?
That's a good question.
Yeah, it seems like they really want to be an animal so they can act like an animal.
Pretty much. People want to. Let me see. I made a discovery a couple of days ago. When it comes to the evolution theory, I didn't know this, but the evolutionists have a theory that that states that the reason they don't have any evidence is because evolution happens so fast we can't observe it. It's called punctuated equilibrium.
Right.
And they say,
just think how stupid that is. On one hand, they say it happens so slowly we can't see it, and then they say it happens so fast we can't see it.
yeah.
There's a third option. They've never even thought of the third choice. It didn't happen at all.
I was talking to you about that yesterday, right, Sam? I said the same thing Kent said. I said they say it happened slowly over millions of years. Now they say it happened fast over millions of years. Did it happen? We don't know.
Circular reasoning at its finest.
Yeah. Yeah. And so this guy was talking about mitochondrial DNA. As far as I know about mitochondrial DNA, if you took all of the mitochondrial DNA from women in the earth it would all trace back to a woman. And if you took all the mitochondrial DNA from a man, it would all trace back to one man. So I mean, mitochondrial DNA wouldn't help the evolution theory. It would make it look dumb.
To me, I ask atheists, I say, did you have grandparents? Yeah. Were they human? Yeah. Did they have grandparents? Yeah. Were they human? Yeah. How far back do you go before it becomes non-human? They don't know. But they look to think somehow that some ancestor somewhere long ago and far away was not human.
What?
Okay, well, you can believe anything you want to believe, but it's not science. It's nonsense.
Well, that's the problem, because I was talking to one evolutionist, and he said, well, humans aren't humans. We're a different species of monkeys. And I'm like, what? They think we are different species of monkeys, and we're not humans to begin with. So every time we talk with an evolutionist, it's like two different worldviews, because they believe they're monkeys and we believe we're humans. So no matter what we say to them, they're always going to start off from the conclusion that we're monkeys and we turned into a different species of monkeys. We're just monkeys that can talk and walk and think.
But you let them believe whatever they want to believe. There's millions of people who want to hear the truth. So I don't waste a lot of time with those who don't want to hear the truth.
Yeah, makes sense. So what do you have planned out in the near future? Are you still going to talk on creation? Are you going to pass the torch to your son Eric, or what do you have planned for the future?
I'm still traveling, speaking on creation. I probably got about 30 more years left. My son started ministry, creation today. He's doing a wonderful job. I'm getting a bad echo back in here on the phone, brother. I don't know if you can't fix it, but we're starting a new children's. My YouTube channel is going crazy. Kent Hovind official. I've only been out of prison 150 days now and got 2.5 million views on YouTube channel. People can call in, send their questions and stuff, and we answer them there. I travel tomorrow to preach in Vancouver, Washington. My schedule's up on peter3.com. The number 2, the word Peter, and the number 3. Be glad to come. It's been third one for the town. We are looking at getting property and building a large dinosaur picture land. The Science Center, theme park, Christian creation campground, etc. So we're looking right now at different locations. Keep praying for that. I'm still full of energy and going to keep going for another 20, 30, 40 years.
Sounds good. Let me see. What's another good question? Oh, we haven't really heard about like and this is okay if you don't want to talk about it, but we haven't really heard about like your experiences in prison, like because I know we hear like you went to prison, but we don't really hear what happened while you were in there. Is that something you do? Is that something you feel okay talking about?
Oh yeah, no problem. Federal prison camps are about like going to a college dormitory, and it's just a pure waste of time. They should all be shut down. There's no fence around them. You just got to be in the building by 9:30 at night. You can't leave till 6 in the morning. And the only thing I saw good in the prison system. It supplies jobs for people that are otherwise unemployable.
Oh, I know what you mean, like really mean jerks and stuff like that. Yeah.
Well, that are just not too bright, or I don't know. But I didn't meet too many that I would hire to walk my dog.
So,
I was 30 times in the system, so sometimes I was in some county jails or in some holding centers that were miserable conditions. But as a general rule, of the 8.8 years I've been in there, probably 7 years was in in federal prison camps, which are, like I said, a real waste of time. I wrote 37 books. I led 800 men to the Lord. I did Bible studies 4 times a day in my room. I got to read a lot. I read 1,800 books while I was in prison. I love to read. I earned another doctor's degree on, and my dissertation is on end times. What on earth is about to happen, for heaven's sake? That book's up on 2 Peter 3. I changed my proposed trip. We are here for the tribulation. So it wasn't quite worth going to prison, but it was almost worth it just to be able to get my theology straight on end time.
Oh, you kind of believed what? Well, I don't know if Kirk Cameron believes this now, but I know Kirk Cameron. He was in the movie Left Behind.
Oh yeah, he's a good friend of mine, and he has now switched also. We are here for the tribulation.
What would you say is one good Bible verse to support your theory?
Well, there's thousands of them. If you look at Matthew chapter 24, Jesus' disciples asked him in the first part of that chapter, "Hey Lord, when are you coming, and what's the sign?" You get down to verse 29, and he tells them, "After the tribulation, coming back to the clouds with the angels, and they're going to blow us up with them by elect." So it couldn't be more clear. Matthew 24, Mark 13, and Luke 21 are all parallel passages to deal with that topic. Line them up side by side, which I do in my book, What on Earth is About to Happen. But it couldn't be more clear. That's the sequence. You have a time of tribulation, then the sun and the moon go dark, and then the rapture takes place, and then the time of wrath starts. God's wrath is poured out on the world. The wrath falls in the day of the Lord. And Acts 2:20, based on Joel 3, tells us that the day of the Lord comes after the sun and the moon go dark, and the tribulation comes before the sun and the moon go dark. So it just couldn't be more clear. I've only got a couple minutes. I apologize. We had a late start, and I got stacking up around here. But
that's okay. We got one more question. One guy he says, do you still think that Lucy is a chimpanzee? Why or why not?
I don't know if it was a chimpanzee. I say I'm very careful in my seminar. It was an ape-like animal. It's chimpanzee-like. It wasn't human. It wasn't even part human. It could be an extinct ape. Lucy, what do you class Lucy? Dennis Peterson is here. He wrote the book Unlocking the Mysteries of Creation. He's leaving in a few minutes. Yeah, they try to call it a hominid, but it's 3 feet tall. Type animal. Yeah, well, there are a lot of chimpanzees that are able to walk upright. It's uncomfortable for them because of their pelvis bones, but it certainly was not part human. And why would they think a bone they found in the dirt, i.e. Lucy, could do something that no animal today can do, which is produce something other than its kind? I tell them, guys, bones you find in the dirt don't have a date on them. They don't have a name on them. You don't know when they lived for sure, and you don't know they had any children. So in a court of law, absolutely no fossils would ever count as evidence for evolution. All you know is it died. You cannot have any children, let alone different children. And why could these bones do something no animal today can do? Every farmer in the world counts on evolution not happening. He crossbreeds his cows, he expects to get cows. He plants corn, he expects corn to grow. I mean, like, duh. Long ago and far away, and it can't happen today. If it's really science, okay, well, let's see it happen. Make it happen again. Do it.
Oh, and one last question before we go. Who do you think will make a good candidate, or who do you think is the Antichrist?
I think my reading of Scripture tells me it's probably going to be someone from Syria or one of the Muslim countries that surround Israel. As far as candidate for president, did you see my recommendation for president on YouTube?
Yes.
That was funny.
Okay.
Oh.
Well, good. Brother, it's an honor. Let's do this again. I'm sorry. I don't know how to answer the phone yet on some of these other things. I don't know what a Google Hangout is. I've been in prison for 9 years. I can't believe all the changes they made. They brought the outhouse into the building while I was gone. So lots of changes. I'm still catching up. Okay.
All right. Sounds good. I'll talk to you later, Kent.
Hey, thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
All right. All right. 1 minute, guys. 1 minute. Let me see. About to try and see if we can bring in some Q&A questions from some people. See if some people. I'm going to let some people into the Hangout now, so they can just talk to me and you.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to bring him in and like have people waiting here for him. Like that would be like kind of like real, like, I don't know, fishy. That's kind of like what atheists do with G-Man. They say, "Oh, G-Man, come to a Google Hangout," and they have like 4 or 5 atheists waiting for them on the other side.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's all. Gosh, that theory really does escape all logic. It really does when you think about it. Exactly the way Hovind puts it. It's perfectly logical. You don't expect something new to grow out of corn. I mean, they're just doing it to push transhumanism. I don't know if you saw my recent video, but I did a complete video of that article where they called transhumanism the final religion. And they pretty much confirmed everything they believe, everything that was in Age of Deceit 2 by Face Like the Sun. They believe the Philosopher's Stone. They believe the Gnosis idea of restoring the world to perfection through knowledge and not through Jesus Christ and God the Father. So that's a very big problem.
well, I mean, we do have a knowledge problem because we're getting dumber, but I mean, most of the stuff that we have today, people think that we did this because we're so smart. A lot of the stuff that we have today is only because we've been contacting demons or aliens or whatever you want to call them. We've been contacting unidentified well, not unidentified objects, but that too. But we've been in contact with like Nephilims and aliens and stuff like that for years since Roosevelt, right? Wasn't he the guy who put the weird images in the back of your dollar in the first place?
Yep. On top of all that, yeah, of course, all that occultic stuff, and then supposedly, I think it was Nikola Tesla or someone else who was actually finding ways to contact demons. That's how he found electricity in the first place. Oh, wow. So, it's interesting stuff.
Well, I mean, we think we're getting smarter, but we're getting dumber, and like, well, especially our spiritual state. Like, I mean, our spiritual state is like we have spiritual diabetes or something like that. I mean, I was talking with a guy the other day. He was extremely smart. He's a scientist or something like that. And atheist guy, he wasn't really a nice guy. He was really prideful. He was just like, "Oh, all you guys are stupid. And I'm smart, and I'm this and I'm that." And I'm like, "Wow, like what a way to represent yourself, you know?"
Mm-hmm.
I'm so smart, and you guys are so dumb. And he said to me, he said, "Wayne, you seem like you're such a nice guy, but you're a moron." And I'm like, "Oh, from a guy who believes that natural selection and evolution are the same." Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was just basically I lost my train of thought. But basically I was talking to this guy, and what was I talking about? Man, that comes from me not having breakfast. But long story short, I was talking with this guy or whatever in this Google Hangout, and he says something to the fact where I'm trying to remember what exactly I was talking about, because we were talking about aliens and he basically was just saying, you know, I'm so smart and I'm so this and I'm so that. But I was trying to show him like, no, like our heads are getting smaller, and like humans are getting smaller and dumber and weaker, and like we're devolving, we're not evolving. And no matter what I said, no, that's not true, because so and so said this and so and so said that. Dude, in that hangout, hold on, let me show you guys my crazy behind cat. Come here, girl. Little monster. Did you hear me out?
Yeah.
Yeah. But long story short, these evolutionists are just they're just so prideful in their way of thinking, man. They just think I'm right, you're wrong, and the reason why I'm right is because you just didn't do as much research as I did. When that's not even the case. I mean, dude, punctuated equilibrium. If we taught the punctuated equilibrium theory first, and then we try to there you go. And then we try to what's the word? We try to, like a detective, try and solve this case step by step, observation through observation. Nobody will believe in evolution, right, Isaiah?
What was going on?
Not a wave. We were talking about punctuated equilibrium, Lucy. What else were we talking about? We were talking about Kent Hovind's prison stories. So, what were the questions? Because I know you have some. I read your first question, but I couldn't even read the second and third and that stuff.
The one about CMT1A repeats?
Yeah, I don't even know what that is, man. That's above my pay grade.
Essentially, my argument was, okay, there's a region on human chromosome 17 in which you have It's called CMT1A repeats. You have your proximal repeat and your distal repeat. And in between the proximal and the distal, you have the PMP22 gene. Now, the distal is exon 6 of the COX10 gene. The proximal is a duplicate of the distal. It's on the other side of the PMP22 gene. Now, sometimes during reproduction, you'll have the proximal line up with the distal. And when you have that, you can have offspring with horrible diseases such as Charcot-Marie-Tooth disease or HNPP. I mean, I'm just going to go with the abbreviation because the real word for it is complex. But as I was saying, there's 2 primates with the proximal repeat. And it's only the chimpanzee and the human. Now, I need to remind you that the proximal repeat has no function. So my argument is the proximal repeat can only be explained by vertical gene transfer or inheriting it from a common ancestor. That's my argument.
I really agree with what I said. So they're saying that we inherited this gene from chimps.
No, not this gene. No, not from chimps. We inherited this. The proximal repeat is just a partial gene. It's not a complete gene at all. I'm saying we inherited it from a common ancestor with chimps, not from chimps.
So you're saying that. Hold on, I'm doing that. Echo. Oh, you had a video playing at the same time?
Who, me?
Yeah, I heard the echo. Now I don't hear it. But so you're saying that we share a common ancestor with chimps. You're not saying our ancestors are chimps. But that still would make us related. If we share a common ancestor with chimps, we still would be related to them.
Yeah, I'm saying we're related, just not we didn't come from them.
We came from another common ancestor. So
yeah.
So what would their common ancestor be?
The most likely candidate is Dryopithecus.
Is that extinct?
It's extinct.
That's weird. Well, I mean, we haven't seen whatever it's called, an Alopithecus.
Oh, Australopithecus.
Look at my cat. Freaking monster. There's 2 of them, so I got another cat. Hey, look at me. He's trying to get away. I'm hearing an echo.
Hold on, let me mute.
But I have. Come on, cat. Stop. Stop it. Stop trying to fight me. Stop. I'm your dad. Stop.
My cat does the same thing.
And then she has like her tail tucked between her legs, like she's gonna die or something like that. You know, stop it. Stop acting so afraid. Such a punk. Come on. You gotta stop acting all bad while we on camera. This one, she's always giving me a hard time. Oh my gosh.
If you want her to stand still, just pinch the back of her neck.
Is that gonna hurt her? No. Let me try it.
No, it's not gonna hurt.
That doesn't hurt.
All right, I'm doing it. Come on, lay on the table and just chill out, okay? Chill out, master. You're supposed to be my homie. All right, so I don't know if that gene would even prove, or if that common ancestor would prove we had a common ancestor. If it did, I would become an evolutionist. Damn, just like that. But even with that, why would that be extinct? Because if that's our common ancestor, that would bridge the gap between humans and chimps. But if that's like our ancestor that we kind of meet in the middle, does that mean, so which came first, the chimp or the common ancestor?
The common ancestor. The chimp descended from the common ancestor. It's a separate line.
So it would be common ancestor, chimp, human.
Yeah.
So, but we didn't.
All right, my phone's about to die. I gotta check out.
All right, got you. All right. All right. So, do you understand what he was trying to say, or
Kind of. He was just trying to.
a little bit?
He said that the genes have no function, so it's just like, the way I see it is like it really doesn't prove anything. I mean, we see all the time that genetics, we're what is it? We're like genetically related to this and that and this. That really doesn't prove anything.
No, it hasn't proved anything to me. I mean, you. Let me show you guys this picture real quick. Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! When you guys see this picture, you guys are gonna understand what us creationists are talking about, because you guys probably think we're crazy. But I mean, if that's the common ancestor between chimps and humans, I mean, the common ancestor would be the middle intercessor between us. So that means that it would be younger than chimps and older than humans. But he's saying that this common ancestor is older than chimps and humans. So I mean, I don't understand what he's trying to say. Like, because if that's the case, it should be the chimp should be older than the common ancestor.
Mm. It's just it's circular reasoning again. Like, oh man.
It's like I'm on a train that's going around and around and around and around, and the conductor's like, you can't get off.
They go with bones, they go with this, that, mix match. Oh yeah, we got a gene, they got a gene. We're related to them.
Evolution is you share 98% DNA with chimps, so therefore you have a common ancestor. But you also share 92% with a mouse,
exactly,
and 44% with a fruit fly. So here's your new improved evolution chart.
Oh man.
So when somebody tells me that you share 98% of your DNA with a chimp, that proves that you're an ancestor of a chimp. And then that also proves that a dog and a banana are related. Because they got this family tree like we're in the freaking Lion King or something like this. Like we all like this is the circle of life. Like no, like we ain't all related. Like the only things that are related are humans. I'm like directly related.
Yep.
I mean, we might have common parts or common genetics or something like that. But I mean, it doesn't prove we descended from them. A chimp can't birth a human, and even if we had a common ancestor with whatever he was saying, I mean, that's assuming something. That's assuming that people aren't human, and that's assuming that monkeys or whatever can give birth to humans.
Yep.
I mean, either way, I mean, when they say that humans and monkeys are in the same kind, are in the same family tree, or we're in the same species as monkeys, I mean, that's assuming from the get-go that we're monkeys. I mean, who classified us as monkeys? Not the monkeys.
Yep.
So, and then not to mention the punctuated equilibrium theory blows them out the water. And then they got the hopeful monster theory, which says that the reason they don't have any evidence for evolution because a bird-like ancestor ate the eggs and turned, or no, I'm sorry, the dinosaurs ate the eggs of birds, and then the dinosaur turned into the bird, or something like that. They went from the hopeful monster theory because they realized how dumb it was, and they made the punctuated equilibrium theory, which says that we don't have any evidence because ... When somebody starts a theory off, well, we don't have any evidence for this theory ... That's when you can just say, well, wait, you just stepped out of science and into make believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Well, we don't have any evidence for this theory because et cetera, et cetera. Like how dumb.
Yeah, it's ridiculous that people see what's going on in these days. People can watch my reports, any of the other truthers' reports, and realize like we're getting ready to go into the end times. So anyone who's still holding on to evolution tooth and nail is just as the Bible calls them, a fool. The fool said in his heart, "There's no God."
Even when he tries to bring up the fossil record. I mean, Darwin's theory, and because they our evolution has to hold on to Darwin's theory that we all are related. And so at the top you see this Darwinian family tree, which shows all these different branches. But if Darwinian evolution is true, those branches will have branches on top of branches, and it was split off from two or three different ancestors. Like right here, or let me see. Can you guys see my mouse? Right here. So I mean, right here, where this root is, right here, if evolution is true, I mean, it would be like a root here and a root here and a root here and all these other different roots, and then it'd be a root here and a root here. But it's showing direct lineage. But that's not what we see, because we're not directly related.
Yeah.
Right here, we see, different branches, like for different species. We'll say this is like the dog species right here, and then it breaks off into another species. Like this is speciation, but this is like I don't even know. This is we don't see this crap. No, I mean we don't.
Yeah.
I mean they know it's true, because they're even the guy who was just on everyone. His name is Isaiah Sloan. Isaiah he's making a video series called From Fish into Philosophers. And what they trying to say, we all came from a fish, and that fish evolved, and that fish produced other fishes, and et cetera, et cetera. But that's not what we see. We don't observe that in the fossil record. In the fossil record, the fossil record says that each species is its own derivative kind. But in evolution, a kind is every species they all are under the same kind. So a monkey can be a fish, and a fish can be a monkey, because they all came from the same thing. But what this is saying right here is no, even though they have the same parts, they all have common designers. This is saying, oh, they're all related. So just something for you guys to think about. I'm going to show you guys another illustration of what I'm trying my best to convey to you guys. We believe in something called the creation orchard. Right here. Let me see if I can show this to you guys. There we go. This would be perfect to show you guys. We believe in a creation orchard. So right here, sure, this is a wolf. Sure, this is a monkey. This is a bird. This is a dinosaur. This is a frog. This is a lizard. But at the same time, they all produce different species within their family tree. So they all have different orchards. I don't know if you get what I'm saying, right, Tim?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I know.
But in evolution, let me show you guys what I mean. In evolution, and I hope this is the right one. So I'm guessing this is what he was trying to explain to us. New evolutionary tree for primates. This was our earliest common ancestor, and then this is. What the heck am I looking at? They're all monkeys.
I was just thinking the same thing. Like, what is this?
No, I'm looking because they're all monkeys, though. I'm looking for the human, because they say so. Now a monkey is a monkey, and a human is a human. Like, what are you guys trying to say? First evolution happened so fast we can't see it. Then it happened too slow for it to happen.
Yep.
Let me see if I can try and get an evolution family tree without losing my mind. Oh gosh. Dang, yo, Darwin must have been smoking some strong weed, man. Oh my gosh, he must have had some strong behind weed.
He probably had some opium. Somebody. Oh man.
They're all still monkeys. All right, I'm going to try and zoom in so I can look at this a little bit better. So they're saying that, yeah, they're saying we're monkeys, but we all descended from, let me see. I guess we all descended from like one of these guys, and they branched off. And so they're saying that humans branched off and et cetera. So that's basically what they're saying. They're saying that we're in the monkey kind. We got some problems though. Just because we share the same parts, they don't being right in the monkey kind. And did the monkeys classify us in the monkey kind, or did humans classify us in the monkey kind?
Humans.
Yeah, humans. Humans that wanted to be monkeys classified us as monkeys. I mean, that's like saying, well, because we share, 44% of our DNA with a fruit fly, we came from a fruit fly too. It just it isn't good logic. It isn't good art. And then on top of it, I mean, even the complexity of our DNA proves intelligent design, because I do. Oh my gosh, the information that holds your eyeball together is
Yep.
more complicated than the tallest building in the world, which is the Khalifa building. I'm right. That's the Khalifa building down in like Dubai, right?
Mm-hmm.
Our eyeball is more complicated than that, and our brain is so complex that our brain can store more information in it than the Smithsonian Museum.
Yeah.
But these guys, man, they just I don't know what to say, man. If you truly honestly believe that you came from a monkey 4.6 billion years ago.
Yeah. Like that's when I just would give him Pascal's wager. If God wasn't real, it would be only a minor inconvenience. But if he is real, they face an eternity of punishment. That's probably the best wager anyone could have ever made. It's the most logical of all.
Pretty much. Well, here's one thing for sure. Because God is real, they're gonna have to face God on Judgment Day, and they're gonna have to tell
Yep.
them all the crazy, evil stuff they did, and all these lies they keep on teaching our kids about how our kids are monkeys, and just so. According to their logic, a monkey is a banana,
Mm-hmm.
and every time a monkey eats a banana, they're eating their cousin. Because it's just the fact that the banana didn't evolve yet, or whatever. Because they're saying we're all related, but then they're saying no, we're not all related. So the times when they say, "Oh, we're not all related," oh my gosh, you're creationists.
Yeah, really.
I agree, we're not all related. But then they're like, "But we're related to monkeys." No, we're not related to monkeys. Because if we're related to monkeys, we're related to everything. Because that's what evolution teaches. They don't just teach common descent. They teach that we're all common.
Yeah. Yeah, they do.
If evolution is true, I mean, like, what value? Like, how do you value yourself? Like, you ain't nothing. If like, if evolution is true, I'm a chemical compound fish that crawled out the soup that evolved over millions of years from a monkey, and now I'm black. I mean,
Yeah.
holy crap! I mean, evolution isn't good for any of us. But I mean, one of the best arguments against evolution is the punctuated equilibrium theory, because that's their theory that they say it happened too fast for it to observe, and then they say, oh well, no, it all started slowly with death in millions of years.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't make any sense. And then not to mention the cosmic evolution with the Big Bang. That I cannot stand a Christian that says I believe in the Big Bang. Oh my gosh. You have to be smoking some strong crack to be a Christian and believe in the Big Bang.
Yep.
Because the Bible never says that God made a Big Bang. It says God spoke the world into existence.
Mm-hmm.
It did not, the Big Bang doesn't. The Big Bang was, well. I mean, we got two things. We got two theories when it comes to the Big Bang. That we got one theory that says that the Big Bang exploded, and an explosion made life, which we have never seen a good explosion. I mean, nobody ever hopes that ISIS blows something up and it's a good explosion.
That's very true.
Oh my gosh, it was a good boom. Like, no, like that doesn't happen. And then they say, oh, it was an expansion. Okay, well, what expanded? Nothing. What? and then they say, well, something expanded. And then you say, well, what expanded? They say, it was a simple cell. Do they understand that a cell is not simple? Dude, one cell is more complex than a building.
Yeah.
So when they say a simple cell, there are no simple cells. Who's calling me? Oh, this guy. There are no simple cells. So that is an assumption that the cell is simple from an evolutionary standpoint. Well, we know for a fact the cell is not simple.
Yep.
We got some people watching now. Do you guys have any questions? I'm tired of talking. What questions do you guys have? Let's see. Questions. Well, don't have any questions yet. But so let's move on to philosophy, evolutionary philosophy. So in evolutionary worldview, when it comes to philosophy, I mean, because we got the moral argument down. We all know morally atheism or evolutionism, they don't have any ground to stand on. Evolution can't tell you anything about morals. But from an atheistic worldview of the world, how I mean, where do you get value from? Like, where do you get worth from?
They would have no answer for that, really.
I mean, if I was an atheist and I didn't believe there was a God, I would get worth from me, depending on how I feel. But that's a bad thing because most atheists are depressed.
Yeah.
So I mean, then they go and commit suicide or whatever. With the and I don't even like talking about this, but I'm gonna bring this back to the homosexual thing too. They 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 got their rights. Well, not even rights because homosexuals always had the same rights as everybody. Sure, they couldn't get married, but they could go and catch the bus just like anybody else. They could go and eat at a restaurant just like anybody else. They could use
Yeah.
they could drink from a water fountain they want. First of all, the homosexual community is less impoverished than the black community. So when they say rights, what rights? I mean, and then they had the right to go out and to marry a woman just like anybody else. They had the same rights we all had. They just didn't want them. They wanted them. If you ask me, they're more privileged than any other or than any other group in America because polygamy is illegal. It's not legal for NAMBLA to go and marry little boys. So, I mean, if they're going to start giving out sexual freedom to homosexuals, they need to be fair and give it to everybody else. But I mean, like most homosexuals, they say that the straight people are always bullying them and they're always hurting them and they're always killing them off and stuff like that. You rarely hear about any straight person doing anything bad to any homosexual, especially nowadays. You're more likely to hear about a homosexual killing themselves than somebody else killing them. Which even goes to show, which I know for a fact, most homosexuals are atheists. They don't believe in God. For the sheer fact that the Bible doesn't approve of it. But yeah, most atheists are depressed. They're the saddest people in the world, and they hide behind their intellect because they think their intellect is going to bring them happiness. But you can be the smartest man in the world and still feel depressed. And with that case, just because you're sad doesn't prove that you need God. I mean, there's a lot of Christians that are sad and they have God. And then just because you're happy doesn't mean that you don't need God. There's a lot of people who are happy who don't have God. That doesn't prove they don't need God. Tim, talking up a storm.
Yeah, no, I hear you on that. Like, I don't know. When it comes to just atheism in general, like you said, they're all really mainly depressed. Like, they may not admit it, but that's pretty much how they are.
I was talking to a girl who was she's not an atheist, but she just doesn't believe in the Bible. She's one imaginary God away from being an atheist because the God she believes in is like the God she made up in her imagination. And so she got drunk one day and she calls me crying about how depressed she is and how sad she is. And she's like, I would never tell you this if I was sober, but I hate my life. I need God and I don't know how to find God, but I really don't want to find God because I don't want to stop with doing what I'm doing. And she was drunk and she's like pouring out her soul to me, crying while she's drunk on the phone. And I'm like, wow, all the stuff I used to always tell her about how she suppressed the truth was right.
Mm-hmm. No, it is. You just gotta dig deep enough. They'll hide it. They'll hide it. Hide behind evolution. Hide behind their own sin until finally they realize they're convicted.
I guess we gotta get some atheists drunk so they can get convicted.
Oh man.
What do you guys think? Who are watching the show? Maybe some of you guys who are watching. Maybe you guys are atheists, and maybe you guys are Christian. What do you guys think? Well, how I want to give you guys a new question. For you guys who are watching the show, do you guys think that you need God or you don't need God? Why or why not? That's a really good question. I know. I was talking to some atheists, and they said, "Well, the only reason why you believe in God is because it's nothing but behavior modification. Because you feel bad about doing the things you want to do, so you use God as an excuse so you can modify your behavior." What do you think about that, Tim?
No, I wouldn't. You know that gets tossed around a lot, and the actual answer to that is no. It's not behavior modification. It's not even necessarily because I feel bad. It's because this God loves his He loves us. It's meant to be out of love. That's what sets a real convert apart from a false convert. Not doing it because you're trying to get right with God. The works are filthy rags. You're doing it because God died on a cross for you, for me, for this whole stinking world. All the stuff everybody does, and they just spit on him when they deny him and the son that he sent for us. So it's mainly out of love. Yeah, you want to be good, you want to do good stuff for God, but that's not the reason why. We realize the power of the cross. We realize what the resurrection represents. It's freaking love. What greater love than a man to lay down his life for his friends? You can't get any better than that. That exceeds all morality, just like right there.
Makes sense.
And if you think that there's nothing out there that does love you, you get insecure. All kinds of people are insecure about this, that. Then they realize something. The creator of the universe freaking cares about you. He loves you. Why should you care that much about whatever little things are going on in your life? And then because of you knowing that creator loves you, you love him so much, you want to try to measure up. You want to try to walk in his footsteps.
Well, that brings me to my next topic too. One of my neighbors who I was friends with, I told you, Tim, one of my neighbors who I grew up with him, he passed away 2 days ago. In his house, he was 27, I think, 27 years old. He was one of the first people I met when I moved in that neighborhood in about third grade. I'm 20 years old now, and so my neighbor passed away, and I'm not sure if he passed away with Christ or not. But what would you say to people who are watching right now who lost a loved one and weren't sure if they converted or not, especially by the way they died? What'd you say to them?
That's a difficult one because only luckily God takes the responsibility from us really by saying he knows the heart. Who can know it but God? And it depends. If someone didn't have Christ, they denied the Son, they denied the Father up until their actual death. I have to admit, they're probably burning. But if they accepted the Son, they're within God's grace, and they're most likely in heaven. I don't know how it is when people, if they die in their sin, because there are believers who, they believe, but they're still struggling with sin. They may have died right after sinning somehow and not repented, whatever.
Right. But what the thing with believers is, because Jesus is our righteousness and we don't have our own righteousness. I mean, you even God looks at the intent of the sin and why you sinned, and there are some sins we really do on accident. Like even I have days where like a cuss word will slip out of my mouth. So I'm like, oh my gosh, like where did that come from? And like God looks at the intent when it comes to that.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And I'm so tired of Christians who walk around like they're perfect. Like, oh, look at me, look at what I did. I didn't fornicate for 30 days. I didn't drink for 50 days. Look at it. Like, that's great. You're not supposed to fornicate. You're not supposed to drink or get drunk at least. You're not supposed to sin. So I mean, you're going around with your little 30-day badge of honor, but like Paul never said, look at me, I'm 45 days clean. Like,
Yeah.
This is what you do every single day as a Christian. So,
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Like, you know,
weird, man. Just weird how people like to flaunt that around.
mhm.
Let me see.
Because that's what I was gonna say. Yeah, because if you're sitting there, like, it's good to not sin. Definitely, try your best to not sin. That's awesome. You're trying to walk in the ways of Jesus. I mean, that's our role model. He wants us to do that. You said, you love me, you keep my commandments. But at the same time, you can't begin to trust in those works you're doing and say, well, I'm saved. But that guy over down the street who's still struggling with sin and sinning, he's not saved. Even though in his heart, he's probably grieving every day and crying his eyes out at night saying, Jesus, please forgive me. And Jesus will forgive him. It's that simple. That's
Right,
how
but
good God is.
for people who don't give their lives to Christ, say before you die or something like that, you're just like, oh God, please forgive me. Like, what do you think about like is that like a good enough like call out to God for God to save you before you die, even if it is like from something terrible, like maybe you rob a bank or something like that, or whatever,
Yeah. Oh, you mean like a deathbed, like calling out to Jesus
Yeah,
right before
yeah,
you?
definitely repentance.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's perfectly logical. Anyone who calls the name of the Lord shall be saved.
Amen to that. Um, what's another good topic that we can discuss real quick before I get up out of here? I think we tackled just about everything. If I think we should do another broadcast today, I'll give you a call. Um, let me see because we didn't really get any questions from anybody, but we still got people watching. Um, let me see. What's a really good topic? Oh, you know what? A really good topic. That an atheist brought up. He said, if God is so good, how come God allows certain things to happen? Like, how come God just couldn't have let the world, um, go on being good? Or how come God allowed Adam and Eve to do that? How come God, like, why did God allow all of this stuff to happen? Me personally, the Bible says, "For God so loved the world, He gave His only Son, that whosoever believes in Him shall have everlasting life." And so, what I mean, people always just read that verse and they're like, "Oh, that's so great! Look at God's love for us." But if God didn't do that, there will be no proof that He loved us. Now, a lot of people are saying, I'm in science and I love observational science and knowledge and wisdom, et cetera, et cetera. We got these great philosophers out here, right? We got these great scientists out here and stuff, and they want to know if the Bible is scientifically accurate. If Jesus did not die on the cross for our sins, we would not have any proof that God loved us.
Mm-hmm.
And you know how God says, when I give my words, my words don't come back to me void. And so, I isn't. You know what? I'm not sure. No, you know what? There actually is some Bible verses in the Old Testament that talks about God's love for people. God, in the Old Testament, God says, "I love those who love me." And I think in the Old Testament that might be the first time where God mentions His love for people. He says, "I love those who love me." Um, and the funny thing is, if God didn't give His Son to die for us, those words would be void. They wouldn't have. They wouldn't have any substance. They wouldn't have any proof. I heard one guy. I think it was Andrew Womack or somebody like that. It was really early in the morning in Philly, and you know how when it's real early in the morning, but the sun isn't out yet, and it's still like dark. And so I woke up, and this guy was on TV, and he basically was giving a sermon on proof and how do we know God loves us really. And he said something that I think is really, really just he hit the nail on the hammer. And as a matter of fact, let me pull up John 3:16 real quick for you guys. Still got some people watching, yay! Come on, Google. Sorry about that, guys. So, uh, This is John 3:16 right here. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believes in him should not perish but have everlasting life. And so what he was saying is, whenever the Bible says so, or whenever you hear anybody say so, this is the claim. I'm so hungry. I'm so angry. I'm so this. I'm so that. Right. So whenever you hear so, this is the claim. And then whenever you hear that, that's that is the evidence. That's the substance for the claim. I'm so hungry that. So this is the claim right here. But this that is like the action verb. This is what you did because you were so whatever. God so loved you that he gave his only begotten son. So the claim is God loved you, but the proof is he gave his son. And so, sure, we would have a lot of claims that God loved us, but the proof that God loved us so much is that he gave us something that was so special to him. Because sure, God could have had let us stay in a perfect world where we didn't have any disease, we didn't have any sickness, we didn't have any suffering, we didn't have any hurt, but that wouldn't have proved how much God loved us. God so loved us that he gave his only begotten son because
Yeah.
his son is so special to him.
And like yeah, exactly. You know, it's that's our ticket, our way out, the seed that gets planted that will one day grow into a tree when he comes back and takes us up with him. And you know, that's yeah, that gets me about atheists. They don't, it's either I honestly think they're lying when they say those things, because if they have actually read the Bible, they understand that whoever's in the presence of the Lord, if you have an evil thought, you're gonna die. Your body is unequal with God. When people went near him, they would die if they had one evil thought. If there's any evil found in them, they would pretty much die and just fall on their face right there. So if he came down right now out of heaven, stepped into this reality, I mean, well, you and I, we're saved, so we'd be fine. But to the unbelievers, they would drop down, face dead. And also, the only time he's going to step into reality is when he comes back to judge the world and put the unbelievers and Satan and the angels in the pit of hell. So these atheists, when they ask, well, why does he just come out and do it? You don't know what you're asking for. You don't know what you're asking for.
Yeah, pretty much, man. And a lot of times they don't. You know what? Every atheist that I've ever known, they don't understand God's love. And
Mm-hmm.
that's like a really big part of who God is. That's not all of who God is. God is not all loving. The Bible never says God is all loving. But God is love. God is the man.
I think it was you that said that to me, that God is love, but love is not God.
Yeah, I think I did say that, or maybe
Yeah.
somebody else said that. I don't know if I said it, but I definitely heard that before. God
Mm-hmm.
is love and love is not God. So we always try and define God from like
Our view of love, which
right
is
our
like,
right our but I mean we're sinners, so it would be like
yeah.
a weird like view of, because even our type of love is a love that doesn't punish.
Mm-hmm.
Like the
Yep.
Bible says that if a father loves his son, he'll punish his son.
Yep.
So I mean, our view of love, because and that's true. That's one of the reasons why we have fatherless sons out here, or maybe we have sons who have fathers, but their fathers didn't love them enough to punish them. When they were younger. And so when the child grows up, they don't respect authority because their father never was the authoritative person in their household.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another thing too. Not only do atheists not understand God's love, but I found out atheism is the faith of the fatherless. They don't have fathers,
Mm-hmm.
and not only do they not understand God's love, they don't understand a father's love. They don't understand the love from a father most of the time. Most atheists have really bad relationships with their dads,
Yep.
and so it's basically like most women, right? Remember, we were just talking about this. Whenever they go out and whenever they date a man, they're not looking for a man. They're looking for a guy who has all the qualities of their father, because they don't really want a man. They want a father a lot of times. They want the father they never had.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why they put all these expectations of a father onto their boyfriend, and then the boyfriend's like, wait a minute, I'm not your dad. I'm your boyfriend. And then the woman's like, yeah, but you're supposed to be the dad that I've never had or whatever. It's the same thing with atheists. But with atheists, it's just like they're very angry at God because they're angry at their father. I've noticed that a lot of people who have good relationships with their fathers, they have good relationships with God. And
Hmm.
I happen to be one of those people where I have a good relationship with my dad. Don't hate my dad. Don't have any like disdain or whatever to my dad. I actually see my dad last week, but I mean, it's just like, wow, from the Illuminati taking a father out the family unit and saying you can have two moms and you can have two dads, or because most people in America are fatherless,
Yep.
and so by them taking out because the man is supposed to be the image of God and the woman is supposed to be the image of the man. See, a lot of people don't know that.
Hmm.
See, man was made in God's image, but woman was made in the image of man. See, because she was taken from man's rib, or to put that in a different way, the man is supposed to be the glory of of God, and the woman is supposed to be the glory of or like I guess would you put that like man is supposed to be the pride, or no? I would say man is the handiwork of God, and the woman is the handiwork of man.
Kind of, yeah. But they both ended up coming from God. But yeah, I see that. I see your point.
Yeah. So, but I mean, with people growing up about a father and stuff like that, man, this is really just like crippled a lot of people's view on God. So if you know guys, and you know what, that's funny that we were just talking to Kent Hovind because all of his kids are God believing, God fearing Christians because they had a good godly father.
Hmm.
And so that even shows you like if you bring your kids up right and you bring them up under godly biblical principles and you happen to be a good father, I mean you can have kids who grow up to be strong in the Lord. I just got done watching Kent's wedding video on YouTube because I was watching one of his YouTube videos off his channel and he said, "Hey, go look up my YouTube video or my America's Funniest Home Video I did for my daughter's wedding." And so I went and I looked it up and I was like, "Wow, he actually he married his daughter. Wow." But what I would say before I even end this broadcast is if you guys don't know God, seek Him, get a Bible, uh, and you know whatever disdain or hurt you have towards God or towards your earthly father, let that go because that's only gonna um, smear your vision when it comes to finding uh, God. Um,
Yeah.
anything you got to say before we get off the broadcast?
Yeah, let it go of your resentment and let go of that foolish evolution theory. Just let it go. They want to set you up for transhumanism. They want to set you up for a super religion and the mark of the beast. It's not that hard to figure out. All of us are reporting these things, telling you all the time. And to those of you who remain skeptical, you're suppressing the truth and unrighteousness. And the Bible calls you a fool. But you come to the loving arms of Jesus Christ, you are forgiven. So you're denying the best gift ever.
Amen. With that being said, I'm going to end this broadcast, and I will see you guys whenever we do a next broadcast ever again. So
Yep.
I'll talk to you later, man.
All right, later, man.
All right.